Hello, I'm Notorious ALB, proprietor of Amidships, and welcome to Early Warning Radar. Today, we've got an early access title that currently stands as one of the premium multi-crew games available to play, and one that I believe many other games can learn an awful lot from. Wolfpack places you aboard a German Type 7C U-boat during the Second World War. You must attack and sink AI-controlled merchant convoys in order to prevent them from delivering supplies to enemy ports. The convoys are guarded by escorting warships bristling with anti-submarine equipment and weaponry purpose-built to thwart your attempts at attacking these defenceless merchants. The game started life as HMS Maralcon, which was a Kickstarter project funded by two fresh-faced Stockholm University students on the 27th of May 2016. This was a four-person co-op submarine game where you could crew HMS Maralcon, a World War II era alt history submarine from Sweden featuring a radio room, an engine room, a control room, and many more toys until it got cancelled, though the reason why is far less unfortunate than you would think. Neil Stevens has been the owner and administrator of the Subsim website and forums for over 25 years. Subsim has been the locus point for submarine game enthusiasts everywhere, and thus every submarine game ever conceived. HMS Maralcon appearing on Neil's radar was less a matter of if and more a matter of when. On June 21st, 2016, not even a month into their campaign and with almost 9,500 of their £15,000 goal funded, the team reported that HMS Maralcon had been successfully funded, though not through Kickstarter. They also simultaneously announced that the Maralcon project had been cancelled. They had established a partnership with Subsim, and one of the conditions of this partnership was a change in the creative direction of HMS Maralcon. The project resurfaced later in 2019. Skvada Studios had become Usurpator AB, the fictional submarine HMS Maralcon had transformed into a German Type 7C U-boat of Das Boot fame, and the project HMS Maralcon had assumed a new name felicitous with its new direction, Wolfpack. The game is in early access, with the developers opting to provide a stable and working platform for their live build, so you know whatever they put out will be operating to a playable standard. The Wolfpack Discord gives updates every week on a Friday in a dedicated channel either summarising or showing their progress. The roadmap as it stands has these features. We're currently on version 0.26, and the developers are working hard to completely outfit the U-boat's interior. As we can see, the game is planning to open up on a huge scale with its global map milestone, as well as adding a playable corvette and versus mode for some multi-crew anti-submarine wargames. This feature is something I'm eagerly anticipating, as I want more ships in this game and others with a full interior and a diegetic, hands-on interface with which to control the ship from the inside. The game has just had its latest update released, which has given a full rework to the lighting and some of the interior compartments like the control room. It looks fantastic, even if some of the other areas like the radio room are vastly improved but still awaiting some more work and polish. It has also added fully interactable engines with which two dedicated machinists will have to tinker and tune while on the boat. It's not a 1:1mm accurate recreation of the 7C, but it's definitely close enough. The interior and exterior are fully modelled, functional and accessible, allowing you full access to everything in the boat, from the deck gun on the outer casing to the backup rudder control in the E-motor compartment. The boat is crammed with buttons, levers, switches, dials and gauges that allow you to control the boat from the inside thanks to a simple control interface. It also includes perhaps the most important piece of equipment, the alarm. Equipment is positioned in places similar to a real Type 7 U-boat, and so there is a genuine reason to either move around inside and do it yourself, or use the game's internal telephone to order your crewmates to do it instead.
Diesels.
Diesels control, set revolutions 410.
Aye aye, set revolutions 410. Set revolutions 410.
Hey, 410.
Wolfpack is a multi-crew game first and foremost, so you must gather your crew of up to 7 people in order to help you operate the steel beast of the sea. With the option of taking out up to 4 boats per lobby, this means that 28 people can be present in a single game to attack the convoy as a group. For one boat, the official stations are helmsman, diving officer, radio operator, navigator, 2 machinists, and a captain. We'll come on to those in just a second. The boat can be operated with a reduced crew, and exactly how you choose to do this is of course up to you. The game also does an excellent job doing something other games rarely pull off, which is giving an incentive to use the in-game voice system. The interior is loaded with telephones and voice tubes, which are directional, I hasten to add, to encourage players to not just sit on Discord or some other third-party program and talk over each other while the attack is conducted. The game does make provisions for you to play solo with bots standing in for everyone other than the captain in a manner similar to the Silent Hunter games. This, however, is wholly unsatisfying, with some of the bots not quite being all there. I can assure you this game is definitely meant to be played with multiple people. So unlike most other games where you simply click on the map when the boat goes to its marked destination, moving forward in Wolfpack is a team effort, and it looks something like this. The captain orders their desired speed through the voice tube on the bridge. Helm, full speed ahead. The helmsman hears this in the control room and inputs the speed on the engine order telegraph. Helm, full speed ahead.
Aye aye, full speed ahead.
Machinists receive this order, reply to let us know it's been received, and then configure the engines to achieve the desired speed. This smart, uncomplicated and believable method of dividing tasks around the boat is exemplary, and I wish more titles did this with their vehicles. Coming back to the roles available aboard again, we have the helmsman that steers the ship and sends speed orders to the engine room through the telegraphs, the dive officer that controls the ship's depth and conducts diving procedures through operation of the ballast system, the radio operator that sends, receives, encodes and decodes radio traffic when on the surface, and then they operate the hydrophone when submerged. Machinists, of course, operate the diesel engines when serviced and the electric motors when submerged. The navigator doesn't actually do much real navigating, though the option is there. Their job is to plot the convoy on the chart and help plan the attack. And of course the captain gives the orders, ensures successful missions, and perhaps most importantly, keeps the crew busy to minimise downtime. Any real sailor will tell you about the long periods of boredom while in transit. The captain is a leader, and so is crucial in mitigating this, giving people tasks to maximise what FPS players would call trigger time. Without it, patrols will be long and boring with nothing to do. The main objective of the singular official game mode at this time is to sink a set amount of merchant shipping measured in gross registered tons, or GRT. Exactly how you achieve this is up to you, or rather your captain. General rules for success include not getting spotted, closing the hatch, and communication.
Yeah? No! Dude, we have so much shit to go! Holy fucking shit!
You can configure the lobby to make it do what you want. The date and time of your attack can be set, and you have various lobby settings available to you so you can configure the session to your liking. The game currently takes place specifically in the early stages of the war, 1939 to 1941, also known as the Happy Times. Later dates mean higher difficulty as the Allies become more aware and prepared for anti-submarine warfare. The developers are, at the time of making this video, working on progressing the game into later war stages by providing later war equipment such as the radar and snorkel. The enemy, however, will also get better equipment such as their own radars and the Hedgehog, as well as further improved tactics. The game may appear intimidating, or perhaps exciting, with the hands-on controls appearing similar to games like Digital Combat Simulator at first glance. Unlike DCS, which aims to be as close to a one-to-one simulation as possible without going full War Thunder, controls for the 7C in Wolfpack have been simplified enough to allow an easy approach, while still having enough depth to be interesting, no pun intended. Some stations also allow for increased complexity for those that want to raise the skill ceiling of their particular station. For example, the radio station you use to communicate with other boats has a simplified radio setting where you can type out the Morse on your keyboard by simply pressing the corresponding letter. If, however, you untick simplified radio in the lobby settings, the training wheels disappear completely for all boats in the lobby, and you have to input the Morse manually. There's even a functional Enigma machine to encrypt and decrypt messages, which will be hugely exciting for those interested in cryptography. The same is also true of the navigation table. Your U-boat is normally tracked automatically on the surface. However, you can turn off automatic navigation, at which point you're only given the starting point of the boat, and that's it. Everything else will have to be input on the chart manually by the navigator. Playing casually with friends in a relaxed setting is a great way to get started, and the multi-crew shines well enough on its own here. What I have found, however, is that the game starts to not only shine, but sparkle when the crew are trained, know their stations and drills well, paving way for what may be one of the first few games to facilitate naval milsim. Diving officer, periscope depth.
Periscope depth, aye aye. Break for dive!
I rig for dive.
Games like this are the reason I started this channel. The beauty of Wolfpack is that you can kind of play it how you want, to a degree. Even in its current state, where you're only meant to attack a convoy, you can arrange things like underwater navigation challenges to see if you can successfully navigate a trench. You can also challenge to take out all of the escorts before you attack the convoy. It's very much a sort of sandbox in that respect, where you can make your own fun if you choose to, or try out a risky strategy. But the official objective remains singular and the same throughout, although I would suggest that the gameplay is found not in the numbers of game types available, but in the teamwork and cooperation. While it might seem like the perfect project, I do have a couple of critiques. I would like the dive system to be at least a little more complex. Diving at the moment is a touch too simple for my tastes. I'd like something similar to what the U-boat had, where we can pump bilge water between compartments and then out as required to affect buoyancy and trim. This may come later with the U-boat flooding and damage update, but that has not yet been confirmed. I would also like operational considerations such as BDU. The game could adopt a kind of DM to coordinate attacks, with them sending messages that can then be potentially decoded by the enemy. This will of course enforce radio discipline and plays perfectly with the playable corvette that's currently on the roadmap. It would also give the fully functional Enigma a reason to be there also. A decent tutorial wouldn't go amiss either. Thankfully, the Wolfpack community is incredibly welcoming, patient and friendly. They're quite happy to teach you everything, and I mean everything, from the basics of how to work the boat, all the way up to figuring out the speed of a merchant by using a slide whistle.
So I listen for the highest pitch. Grab my guitar tuner. It is 20 cents below B, and that will be 4.8 knots.
Most of the skills required can be practiced in the game's tutorial mission, but the mission itself doesn't actually teach you anything on its own. Finally, less of a Wolfpack problem, though it would be nice to see it in this particular game, more submarines. I would love to see any of the US fleet boats, the British U or T boats, the Japanese Type B cruiser subs such as the I-19, or if I'm allowed to be entirely selfish, the I-400. If we're going to get really crazy, some of the absolute monstrosities from the Great War would be great to see, if only for historical value, like the French Surcouf, the British HMS X1, or the German Project 50. If you thought World War II subs were death traps, you've seen nothing yet. While the German 7C is the darling submarine of the period, it's been used in almost every World War II submarine production, appearing in every Silent Hunter installment, World of Warships, U-Boat, Das Boot, Greyhound, The Enemy Below, and a slew of other productions. Some variety would be very welcome indeed. One thing you should be aware of before buying is that for all the good the game is evidently doing, it's being developed at a pace so glacial it makes Star Citizen look like it's in a hurry. So while Wolfpack is perfectly functional, playable, and in a very good state, anticipate some long waiting if you're looking forward to a feature on the roadmap. I think the potential this game has and continues to show is nothing short of incredible. I hope that many other games can follow its example and draw inspiration from it. I want to see more of this. But I'm interested to hear what you think on the matter. Does the thought of touching any of the levers and hand wheels on this fill you with excitement or perhaps dread? Do let me know in the comments and leave a like while you're at it to help me get detected by the YouTube algorithm. Mr. Flemming, the Tipperary song if you please.
Aye, the Tipperary song, sir.
I've put Wolfpack's links in the description as well, so you can check out the game for yourself and get involved with the community. I also have something big in the works regarding Wolfpack and similar games, so strike the bell and subscribe, as that's the best way to get alerted of when that is announced. Thank you for watching, good hunting, and don't forget to close the hatch.
It's a long way.